There's a folder sitting in almost every Mercedes shop in the country. It's full of repair bills between $8,000 and $12,000 that never had to happen. Not one of them was caused by bad luck or bad engineering. Every single one was caused by an owner who didn't know to check 10 simple things, month after month, before it was too late. One item on this list, if ignored, lets oil wick straight into your engine's brain and kill it from the inside out. Another one, if you skip it enough times, floods a computer sitting right under your windshield. I'm going to walk you through all 10, starting at number 10 and counting down to the one that catches more Mercedes owners off guard than anything else on this list. Number 10, check your accessory drive belt. Every Mercedes has one long rubber belt doing all the heavy lifting under the hood, running your alternator, your water pump, and your air conditioning compressor. It's called a poly V-belt, and it's the kind of part guys used to check with a flashlight back when cars still had carburetors. Not much has changed about how you inspect it. Pop the hood once a month and shine a light across the ribbed side of that belt. Small cracks running across the ribs are normal wear, nothing to worry about. What you don't want to see is cracking running the length of the belt, chunks missing, or fraying edges. That tells you the belt is close to done. Oil is the other thing to watch for. If you see oil residue on the belt, you've likely got a leak nearby, and that oil breaks the rubber down faster than normal wear ever would. While the engine's running, flip the air conditioning on and watch the tensioner pulley for a minute. That tensioner has a spring or a small hydraulic strut inside it, and those wear out just like anything else. If you see the belt wobbling around more than it should, or you hear a squeal coming from that area, the tensioner is on its way out, and a bad tensioner will chew through a good belt just as fast as old age will. Here's why this matters. That belt snapping doesn't just shut off your air conditioning. It kills your alternator and water pump circulation in the same instant, and that can warp a cylinder head in minutes. Most of these belts are rated to last around 40,000 miles, but a monthly check means you catch the warning signs long before you're anywhere near that number, and a $40 part keeps you off the side of the highway. Before we get to the next one, if you want a more in-depth look into how your BMW or Mercedes can last 100,000, 200,000, or even 300,000 miles, these ebooks reveal the exact maintenance secrets and brand-specific strategies that every BMW or Mercedes owner should know. If you want to check them out, the link is down in the description below. Number 9. Clear out your cowl drains. This is one guys never think about because you can't see it sitting in the driveway. Right below your windshield, there's a plastic panel called the cowl, and underneath it, there's a drainage system built to carry rainwater away from your car's electronics. The problem is, leaves, pine needles, and dirt build up in there over time and clog the drain valves. When that happens, water has nowhere to go. Instead of draining out through the fender, it pools up and eventually floods a computer called the front SAM, which controls your headlights, wipers, and a good chunk of your electrical system. That front SAM isn't just some minor relay box either. It's basically a junction point for the whole car's communication network, handling signals for your starter, your sensors, and a lot of the electronics you rely on every drive. Once water gets into those circuit boards, it doesn't just short something out and stop. It sits there causing slow corrosion across the pins, which is why these repairs tend to snowball into a full electrical failure instead of one simple fix. Once a month, pop the hood and clear out any leaves or debris sitting around that cowl panel by hand. Then pour about a liter of water into the drain wells on each side and make sure it flows out freely underneath. If it's slow or backed up, clear the rubber drain grommet with a plastic rod. 5 minutes of cleaning saves you from one of the most expensive electrical repairs a Mercedes can throw at you. Number 8, lubricate your hinges, latches, and sunroof rails, doors, the hood, the trunk, and if you've got one, the sunroof, all rely on moving mechanical parts that need grease to work smoothly. Mercedes actually puts this in their own factory maintenance schedule, but most owners never touch it between visits. Your sunroof track causes the most headaches. The factory grease in there picks up dust and pollen over time and turns into a gritty paste instead of a smooth lubricant. That added friction makes the motor work harder, and the car's computer will actually stop the sunroof mid-track because it thinks something's blocking it. Keep that up long enough and you'll strip the drive gears or burn out the motor completely. Hood latches have their own issue. Most Mercedes models use dual latches so the hood stays locked down securely at highway speed. And that's not something to take lightly with the hood flying open at 70 miles an hour. Without lubrication, the cables inside can bind up, and it's possible for one side to stay latched while the other doesn't release properly, which puts real strain on that cable and risks it snapping down the road. Once a month, wipe down the sunroof rails and apply a thin coat of proper sunroof grease. Hit your hood latches, door hinges, and trunk mechanisms with a good penetrating lubricant while you're at it, and work each one a few times so the grease actually gets where it needs to go. Takes 10 minutes and keeps everything moving the way it should for years. Number 7. Check tire pressure and inspect the inner shoulder tread. Mercedes suspensions are set up with what's called negative camber, meaning the top of the tire leans slightly inward. It's great for handling, but it puts most of the wear on the inside edge of the tire, the part you can't see just glancing at your car in the driveway. That inner edge can wear down to the steel cords while the outer tread still looks brand new. Combine that with incorrect tire pressure, and that wear speeds up even faster, to the point where a tire can look perfectly fine from the outside and be one bad pothole away from a blowout. If you've got the all-wheel drive 4MATIC system, there's another wrinkle. Uneven tire pressure across the axles changes the rolling circumference of each tire slightly, and that puts ongoing strain on the transfer case that splits power between front and rear. Mercedes engineers actually have a threshold on this. Once that circumference difference crosses about 1.5% between axles, it starts putting real mechanical stress on the stability control system and the clutches inside that transfer case. Once a month, check your tire pressure cold, using the numbers on the placard inside your fuel filler flap door, not the number stamped on the tire itself. Then, turn your wheels full lock, left and right, and run your hand along that inner shoulder to feel for wire, feathering, or uneven wear before it becomes a blowout waiting to happen. Number 6. Check your brake pads and brake fluid condition. Most Mercedes models only put a wear sensor on one brake pad per axle. That means the other pad can wear all the way down to bare metal without ever tripping a warning light on your dash. Sticking caliper pins are usually the culprit behind that uneven wear. Brake fluid has its own quiet problem. It absorbs moisture over time right through the hoses and the reservoir cap, even if you never open it. That moisture lowers the fluid's boiling point, and under hard, sustained braking, it can cause the pedal to go soft, right when you need it most. It also corrodes the internals of your ABS and stability control system. This is worse than it sounds, because that moisture doesn't need to build up much before it becomes a problem. Once water content in the fluid climbs too high, you're not just risking a soft pedal on a mountain grade, you're looking at a full hydraulic fluid flush to protect the ABS unit from internal corrosion, which is a much bigger job than a routine brake job. Once a month, use a flashlight to check your outer pad thickness through the wheel spokes, and a small mirror to check the inner pad against the rotor. Look at the outer edge of the rotor too. If there's a noticeable lip built up, that rotor is due for replacement along with the pads. Check your fluid level in the reservoir under the hood. It should sit between the MN and max lines. 5 minutes that keeps your braking system honest. Number 5. Check your coolant level and confirm the correct spec. Mercedes has used different coolant formulas depending on the year and engine, and this one trips up a lot of owners, including guys who've been doing their own maintenance for years. Older engines used a blue-green coolant, generally the formula found in vehicles built before around 2014. Newer aluminum engines use a pink or violet formula built specifically for that different metal. Mixing the two is the mistake to avoid at all costs. When those two chemistries combine, The silicates in the older formula drop out of solution and turn into a thick sludge. That sludge clogs your heater core, restricts flow through the radiator, and can chew through your water pump seal, leading to overheating and a warped cylinder head if it goes unnoticed. This isn't a rare mix-up either. It happens most often when someone tops off their coolant with whatever's on the shelf at the auto parts store without checking what's already in the system. Or when a car changes hands and the new owner has no idea what was used last. That's exactly why checking the color every month matters. It's your simplest way of confirming nothing's been mixed by accident. Once a month, check your coolant level with the engine completely cold. It should sit right at the marker inside the tank, or at the max line if the tank's translucent. While you're in there, look at the color of the fluid. Pink or violet means the newer spec, blue means the older one. If you ever need to top off, use coolant that matches what's already in there, or a pre-mixed approved coolant from your dealer. If you're mixing, concentrate yourself. Cut it 50-50 with distilled water, not tap water, so you don't introduce mineral deposits into the cooling passages. Don't guess on this one. Number 4. Check your electrical system health through the hidden cluster menu. Modern Mercedes vehicles run dozens of computers talking to each other constantly, and every one of them depends on stable battery voltage to work correctly. As a battery ages, it weakens slowly, and low voltage during startup can trigger false warning lights or push your transmission into a safe limp mode, even though nothing is mechanically wrong. Here's what's actually happening under the hood when this goes bad. A tired battery can let system voltage drop below 10 volts for a moment while the starter is cranking, and that split-second drop is enough to starve some of these small computers of the power they need. That's when you'll see warning lights pop up for things like ABS, stability control, or blind spot monitoring, even though every one of those systems is working just fine mechanically. The good part is, you don't need a shop to check this. Mercedes built a hidden workshop menu right into the instrument cluster that shows you real voltage numbers. Turn the ignition to the accessory position, make sure your mileage screen is showing, then press and hold the call button on the right side of the steering wheel, and within half a second, hold the OK button on the left side too. Hold both for about 5 seconds and the workshop menu pops up. From there, select vehicle data to see your resting and charging voltage. Once a month, take 30 seconds to check this. If your voltage numbers are trending down, you'll know to plan for a new battery on your own schedule, instead of getting stranded with warning lights lit up like a Christmas tree. Number 3. Check your digital oil level and upcoming service codes. A lot of newer Mercedes engines don't even have a dipstick anymore. Oil level gets measured electronically through a sensor in the oil pan, which gives you a more precise reading than the old stick and wipe method, right down to 1/10 of a liter, as long as you check it the right way. Park on level ground. That part matters more than people think, because checking on an incline gives you a false low reading. Run the engine up to operating temperature, shut it off, and wait about 5 minutes for the oil to settle back into the pan before checking the digital reading through the cluster menu. This matters because overfilling causes the crankshaft to whip air into the oil, which drops your oil pressure and can damage your catalytic converters over time. Running low has the opposite problem. It speeds up wear on your timing chain tensioners and valve components. While you're in there, check your assist service tracking too. Mercedes uses different codes depending on what's due. Service A generally covers your oil, filter, and basic safety checks, while Service B adds a brake fluid test and cabin filter replacement into the mix. Knowing which code is coming up next means you're never blindsided by a bigger bill than you were expecting. Checking both the oil level and the service code once a month means you're never caught off guard between visits, and you can budget for the next service instead of getting surprised by it. Number 2, check your engine air filter and cabin filter. Your engine has an air filter, and your cabin has a completely separate one for the heating and air conditioning system. Both sit right above hot components under the hood, which breaks them down faster than you'd expect. A dirty engine air filter restricts airflow into the engine, and the computer responds by cutting fuel and turbocharger boost, which costs you power and fuel economy. In bad cases, loose debris from a deteriorating filter can get pulled into the sensors that measure incoming air, known as mass airflow sensors, and that can cause a rough idle or trigger a lean running fault code that looks a lot more serious than it actually is. The cabin filter causes a different kind of problem. Most of these use a combination filter with a dust layer and an activated carbon layer built in to keep odors and pollutants out of the cabin. When it clogs up, your blower motor has to work harder to push air through it, and that extra strain can burn out the motor's resistor over time. A dirty, damp cabin filter is also a breeding ground for mold and bacteria, which is exactly what causes that musty smell. Some owners deal with every time they turn the air on. Once a month, pop the engine air filter housing open and tap out loose debris, checking the seal for tears while you're there. Pull the cabin filter from behind the glove box or near the battery, and if it looks gray or packed with debris, replace it. Number 1. Inspect your camshaft magnet and sensor wiring harness. This is the big one. If there's only one thing you take from this whole video, make it this. This issue affects a huge range of Mercedes gasoline engines built over the last 2 decades, including some of the most common ones on the road today, spanning both 4-cylinder and V8 engines across a wide range of Mercedes models. Here's what happens. The camshaft adjuster magnets and position sensors sit right up front on the timing cover, and they rely on internal seals to keep engine oil out. Those seals wear out over time, and once they fail, oil starts seeping into the electrical connector. From there, oil gets pulled into the wiring harness itself through capillary action, basically wicking along the copper wire like a candle wick pulls up wax. That oil can travel a long way through the harness, working its way toward your oxygen sensors, your fuel injectors, and eventually your engine control unit. And if it reaches that control unit, it can short the whole thing out. Repair costs for this, including the harness, sensors, and control unit, routinely run past $10,000 at the dealer. The good news is, there's a real fix available before you ever get to that point. Mercedes sells genuine sacrificial wiring extensions, sometimes called pigtails, that install between the factory harness and each magnet or sensor. If a seal fails down the road, oil fills that extension and drips out into open air instead of traveling further into your main harness, which breaks the wicking action before it ever becomes a $10,000 problem. Once a month, pull the connectors off your camshaft sensors and magnets and check for any trace of oil on the pins. If you catch it early, clean contacts or one of those sacrificial wiring extensions can stop this problem before it ever reaches your main harness. None of these checks require a lift, a scan tool, or a mechanic's background. What they require is doing them consistently, every single month, instead of waiting for a warning light to make the decision for you. The owners who put in these 30 minutes are the same ones still driving their Mercedes past 200,000 miles without a single major repair bill. The ones who skip it are the ones footing the bill for a new wiring harness or a warped cylinder head. Pick one day a month, run through this list, and you'll be ahead of almost every other Mercedes owner on the road.